All right, folks, welcome back. We have James Bates, one of the analysts for the Fox Sports South, for the college football, for the ACC package. First 4 games of the season. Looks like you guys have a great slate of big time programs on the ACC docket here. You got Louisville, who home against the people here in Charlotte, going down to they're going down to Louisville. Talk about that first game, week one. What do you see in that game with a team just became a Division I program?
Well, we don't even have to wait till the 3rd. That's what's kind of nice about it. It gets started on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And it's, since Coach Petrino's has moved to town, there's just a buzzing and excitement. It's a sports community. They love a winner, and they love good ball, and you've seen the flashes of them taking the next step to where they're going to hang up there with the elites in this conference, and then the next step in the nation's elites is just go hand in hand. It's such a fun team to be around with Louisville, because offensively you're always going to enjoy watching a Bobby Petrino team, but defensively is where I've really enjoyed it. I mean, and you bring in Grantham up there as the defensive coordinator last year, and he's such a fiery guy, an intense guy, and the great linebackers that have been up there. And you talk about feeling old, guys. Mm-hmm. One of my teammates, a younger teammate of mine at Florida, Keith Kelsey Sr., his son is a senior at Louisville, Keith Kelsey Jr.
That must have grind your gears.
Yeah, a little bit. Right? And so I actually...
You're blue and orange. Get it through here.
Oh, man. And so, just the fact that, gosh, a little kid growing up, I remember seeing a lot of my teammates' kids, and so... but it'll be good to see him. I'm actually going to interview him here in our room here at Media Days in just a few minutes. I was calling his dad, and I just... it's so neat because... his dad's a friend of mine, and so it's not like I'm a college coach or some scout calling him up. Hey, tell me about Junior. Well, he's really humble. It was really just kind of neat to hear him talk up his son, because he's really proud of him. Just talking about just what a hard worker he is.
And plus, you know him, so you saw him as a little kid growing up. And you've seen him grow to become a man, and you know everything about the family. So it's basically it's like sitting at a barbecue, just having a nice conversation.
And I just love you got your purple on today. I know purple's big in Baltimore. It's big in Gainesville too, because you got the Purple Hurricanes. It's Gainesville High School. That's where Tom Petty went to high school, and so. But
hopefully you're just assuming for one back down.
It'll be good. It'll be good to see it, but But to answer your original question, I think I went off on Louisville, but you asked about Charlotte. Yeah. I think it's kind of one of those deals, whether you're, North Carolina playing Georgia in Atlanta, or Louisville opening it up with Charlotte. Right. It's just. It's however you approach it, and I think that a Thursday night in Louisville, Kentucky, those guys chomping at the bit, seeing what they've got. It'll be exciting.
That's the only game in town.
Yeah, it'll be as exciting as it can get. Yeah, I don't think they're running any horses that
No,
night.
I don't think they. I think
they're all in.
I don't think the bats are playing either. The only horses would be on the field, running. Yeah. But week 2, you got Florida State. Florida State coming off a 10-3 record last year, and playing a Charleston Southern team. To me, I think that's a cakewalk game. And why is these teams? I've been looking. I know you have these schedules probably made 4, 5, 6 years down the road, but with the new age of the college football playoff, these games got to be wiped off the schedule so you can get better brownie points with the cheap marketing guy of college football playoffs.
Well, yeah, it's it's kind of tough because you can't make them all like the NFL. It's where the NFL, it's week in, week out. You lose a game, and it's kind of part of it. You're going to be okay, bounce back, and it's, as we're finding out, you got to have just right the perfect mix of the Giants and then some of the weaker teams. Mm-hmm. But that said, I had a Citadel at Florida State game a couple years ago.
Well,
and there's this offense, they're cutting them, and they're hurting their guys, and nothing dirty. It's just the way, it's the style that when they run that triple option, kind of like Georgia Tech. That's the way they go about it. That's their equalizer, and so you got to be careful not to look past. If nothing else, for injury's sake and stuff like that. But it's they'll end the season with the Florida Gators, who should be pretty good, and so it's kind of tough to say, oh well, they're not doing it right. I think everybody's doing the best that they can, trying to keep their guys healthy, trying to give themselves definitely a chance to win, knowing, hey, we got this, and and you never know what's going to happen. But it's October 29th. I know when a lot of people here at ACC Media Days, they're trying to get Jimbo and those guys to talk ahead about that meeting with Clemson.
That will decide who's going to come here.
Back to
pretty
Charlotte.
much. And I'm going to South Bend to see Miami and Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be probably in the press box trying to watch both games at the same time.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You need to go on eBay and see if you can dig up, remember the old Catholics versus
I was
convicts
watching
shirt?
these CBS. They used to have the CBS game, and in the beginning of the CBS, they go 2 teams, 2 eras about to clash. And I was watching it the other day. I'm like, I called my buddy who's a Notre Dame fan. I was like, dude, that gives me goosebumps, dude.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he's coming with me. Because he's an Irish fan and he wants to help me with the radio. And I was like, here's the deal: no clapping, be respectful. And that's all I care about.
Okay.
And he goes, okay. And he's like, oh, no, don't do it. And then my brother, who's the Miami.
Can you at least listen to the House of Pain on the way up?
And then my brother,
These
who's
Irish eyes are smiling and Buck Weiland. The House of Pain is pumping. Start jumping. Freak
Let's
it,
talk
funk
about-
it, backseat trunk it. If you can't get with it, you wind up sweating it. Then you get a beating just like it.
There we go.
It's so hard to run when you got a
Yeah,
broken
talk
leg.
about
But we
that.
can never run off. The House of Pain will come off. We got the cake that you're trying to get a crumb off. Okay, I'm sorry. Where were we?
Okay.
I was
James Bates.
James Bates.
There it is.
He's going to be at what club this tonight?
He's going off, man. We're going to take him out for.
We're going to bring him to the Hippodrome up in Baltimore.
I tell you.
Another game, I was looking on the schedule where I live, Baltimore. The CAA is a very good conference. They have good teams like Towson and Delaware, and James Madison coming off a very good year. They lost their coach to Texas State because he got a better pay raise.
Okay.
That's what they told me in Harrisonburg. I have a house down there, so I get the inside scoop, from people down there. Talk about James Madison. Is this a sleeper? Is this a game that North Carolina needs to pay attention to because of James Madison?
Well, I think, with North Carolina especially, you've got some spots. They lost a couple really good linebackers. They've got some young guys that are filling in there. They've got a new quarterback. They lose Marquise Williams, and they've got Mitch Trubisky in there. And, he had some reps last year, but not the most meaningful reps,
Right.
we'll put it that way. And when you've got a guy in Marquise Williams that rushed for 35 touchdowns in his career, you're replacing a heck of a playmaker, heck of an athlete, and it'll be a different style. So, and knowing Larry Fedora, I mean, this might as well be a North Carolina Clemson clash. I mean, that guy, he's full metal jacket. I mean, 24 hours a day. So it'll be a team that's
And he
ready.
has a beard going too. So
yeah, how about that?
So
He's fun, man. But you tell make sure those guys, your homeboys there, JMU, make sure they're ready to go because I'll guarantee you that North Carolina team will be ready to go this year, especially when you look back to last year. Because remember, they kind of laid an egg there in the opener against South Carolina. Should have beaten South Carolina in the opener.
Right.
Gave them the game, and then they went on the big run and ended up in the ACC
And it's
championship
funny if you
game.
look at it. And then there's another game I saw that North Carolina took on Delaware. Delaware rushed for like 200 yards rushing against them, but Delaware still got their hands handed to them and sent back to Newark. Yeah. But I think I may have to join you with that game because you might need a James Madison insight guy.
Yeah, that would be good. Come hang
Yeah,
out.
come.
I actually had that Delaware game.
Yeah.
And North Carolina still hasn't stopped them running the ball. That was an impressive Delaware squad that came down there. Yeah, that absolutely.
Coach Brock, who is a Kansas State guy, who was with Bill Snyder and all that stuff. He knows how to run the football.
It's all going back to purple. That's why you wore that purple shirt thing.
Oh,
It wasn't just for the
I just
Ravens.
picked that after the. I did my laundry.
James, I want to ask you something. We had you mentioned Louisville's defense. I want to switch sides of their offense. We had Lamar on earlier, a true dual threat quarterback. Las Vegas already has a line on him. He's a big underdog, winning the Heisman. What do you see in his potential that can potentially elevate Louisville to the upper echelon, the Clemson and Florida States of the ACC?
Well, when you get a guy like that can do a handful of things and do them at an elite level, it's scary, especially when you combine it with the mind of the coaching staff on the sidelines. I mean, that's where it really, it's, if you have enough pieces around him, you don't even have to have the best pieces around him, but if you have enough pieces around a guy like Lamar Jackson, it's downright scary. I mean, it's nightmarish for defensive coordinators when you've got that combination of Lamar Jackson and Coach Petrino. It's it's cliche, losing sleep, but that's what defensive coordinators lose sleep over. So absolutely, and he's a kid that has so much confidence, and he always has. That's one thing when they talk about him. They talk about just what a leader he is and what great confidence he's always had. And he's been thrown right into the mix, and he's shown that he can perform. So I could see where, at first I was like, well, wait a minute, I hadn't heard any talk about him being a Heisman-type guy, but I could see where somebody would say he's very much a dark horse, but why not? I mean, and why not Louisville make a big run? This is a pretty good football team.
I got to tell you, we do this and we love what we do. But, for you, having so much success at Florida, and you've won Emmys for your TV work, and now you're doing this. You're still in Gainesville. How is it to just live in an area where you pretty much, family, football, your career, that just seems like the complete package. Talk about how blessed you've been.
Well, that's, thanks for saying that, because that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I'm extremely blessed, and it's probably not in a sense that a lot of people think that, like, oh gosh, you get to, talk about football on TV. I really feel blessed because, it's the big talk is the concussion, and I think about it all the time. I'm like, I've had my fair share of concussions playing linebacker in the SEC, and and growing up with a dad as a defensive coach that taught me how to use my head as a weapon. That's going to be your equalizer, son. And it's like, and I have moments where I'm like, kind of let me regroup here, and I know it's from that, but it's like at the same time, it's just like that's all I ever dreamt of was playing big time college football, and because of that, there's so many things in my life that I just have a wonderful family. Met my wife in college. She was a swimmer at Florida. And I owe so many things to football. So I get it. I'm so glad everyone's talking about safety and we're taking care of these kids now. But, I feel like football has been so good to me that it's kind of part of it, I guess is what I'm getting at. And also, as I go around and do the work that I do and live the life that I live, I just enjoy being around these kids who at the end of the day are living out a dream. Just living out a dream. And that, and not just because they're playing at Clemson and Florida State and the whole world's watching when they're playing October 29th, but like, Markel Lee, the linebacker at Wake Forest that I just interviewed, who, if I'm not mistaken, he's a Maryland guy. And it's just, he's living out a dream. he's buckling up his chin strap and going and making tackles for a Division I college football team, part of that program, and so I just can't help but just love being around, and I love the human interest stories every bit as much as I do the X's and O's, even though my dad and my brother were just, they're great football coaches and really students of the game always. I just love the people that you meet when it comes to it. But thank you very much for putting it like that, because I really do feel blessed and fortunate every morning I wake up to do what I do and have the life that I do.
You mentioned interest, and got to tell you, I looked at some of your artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good. Any shot maybe you could hook a bachelor up with, I need a little pizzazz in my place. Where does that passion come from?
I maybe should have taken art. I never really had any classes, but in college I did so much drawing and stuff in my class where I should have been paying attention. I've always been kind of drawn to it, and I just, my college roommate majored in art. He taught me how to build a canvas, and I wanted to do this painting for my wife, and I've just been hooked ever since then. And I've kind of started to do more and more like folk art pieces, some of these stories of these guys, these coaches that I meet, and I played for Coach Spurrier and all of his sayings and stuff. And so I just love it. But thanks for checking it out. And I might have to hook you up with some stuff sometime.
Right.
And but next time you guys have me on in the morning.
Okay.
And so I can start it with "Good morning,
Oh my
Baltimore."
goodness! Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
James Bates, thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
Appreciate
We'll
it.
keep in touch, man.
All right, man.
We'll keep in
All
touch.
right, we appreciate it. The time. Fox Sports South analyst and colorful character, to say the least. James Bates joining us on Herb FM Radio.
I think I'm going to try to book them for the Hippodrome or something like that. They need some good talent up there up in Boulder City. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll grab whoever we see rolling around the ACC Day 2, the final day of kickoff here. We want to say thank you to Mike Flynn and everybody at the ACC for the warm hospitality. They've been letting us, putting up with us around here for the last 2 days. And we appreciate their hospitality, and all the nice radio personalities. It's doing a fantastic job. So we'll be right back.